Hey, let's talk about selling. I know if you're anything like me, the thought of selling probably sends your insides into a bit of a spin. It makes them crawl around, makes your insides want to become on your outside, and maybe even induce some feelings of panic in your chest or in your belly. The thing is, if you've chosen to run a business, you can't get away from selling. You have to have those sales conversations. And I know there's probably a few things running through your head right now, even as we're talking about the thought of selling. And they are words and stories like, there aren't enough clients. There aren't enough clients. They'll all go to someone else who's been around longer than I have. Or maybe I hate selling, but I really love coaching, or I really love the thing that I do. I really love to help people. And so I'll do it for free. Or even people are more likely to buy if I don't charge as much. No, 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 no. You guys, none of those things are true. And interesting side note, by the way, I used to do a lot of sponsored events as a kid and as a kind of an adult. I used to love doing a lot of sponsored events when I had time to do those things. Oh, there's a story, right? I don't have time. Anyway, I digress. I used to love doing sponsored events, and I would I would go around with my sponsorship form, and people would write their name on the form, and they would promise to pay me £5 or £10 or whatever it was once I'd done my fun run or my sponsored swim or whatever it was that I was doing. But I would do the thing, I would do the event, and then I would hate asking people for the money afterwards. Like, how much of a bad money story is that, guys? This is what I'm up against. I don't know about you guys, but this is what I'm up against. People literally told me that they would give me the money. They literally wrote their name down and the money that they would give me if I did the thing. I did the thing, and it was still so hard for me to go back afterwards and ask them for that money that they promised that they would already give me. Anyway, super interesting. But the fact is that all of these thoughts, all of these stories, all of these feelings that come up, they're literally stories that you are telling yourself. And those stories are based around a fear of whether, based around lots of fears. I'm just going to pull out a few really common ones. Based around a fear of whether you can deliver to a high enough standard that you assume that your client is expecting. I bet you can, by the way. They might be stories around imposter syndrome or your own value as a coach or as a consultant or even as a person, right? They might be stories like, well, if I never make an offer, then I don't have to suffer through the rejection of someone actually saying no to me, because that's a very real thing too, that fear of someone saying no, and what you make it mean about you. And you may or may not have a conscious understanding of these things that are going on. And what I want you to do is, when you're thinking those thoughts and telling yourself these things and feeling those feelings, I want you to get really curious about what's underneath all of those words and thoughts and feelings that run through your brain, that run through your body when you think about selling it. Because let's be real here, if you're not getting any no's, you're not going to be getting really any yeses either. Having those no's, they're part of getting the yeses. The no's is part of building the business. So to start with, before we get into the 5 habits, I'm going to give you 3 core mindset shifts that I really, really want you to listen to and let sit deep in your consciousness and in your subconscious. And I really want you to feel these shifts in your body. And the first shift is around shifting from scarcity to abundance. And I know that us coaches bandy these words around willy-nilly, scarcity and abundance and all that kind of stuff. But many businesses struggle with making sales because they have a scarcity mindset. And what they do is they view sales as a zero-sum game where they feel that there's only a limited number of clients to go round. And then that's often followed up with, well, there's only a limited number of clients to go around, and therefore those people are much more likely to go to a business that has been around longer, or their website looks more professional, or whatever it is. Okay. And whilst I totally get that, and I also used to tell myself those stories as well, by the way, whilst I completely get that, logically, there are only a limited number of clients to go around, because there are only a limited number of people on planet Earth. Remember that there are over 8 billion people on planet Earth, and rising rapidly at the moment. And I bet you only need 5 clients a month to have a pretty good income. Even if you wanted, say, 10 clients a month or 50 clients a month, that's still a tiny drop in the ocean. Even if you consider that maybe only 10% of that 8 billion people are your ideal client. And when we're thinking ideal client, I mean things like they're the right demographic, they're the right psychographic, they can access your calls, they've got the money to pay you, they understand what you offer, etc., etc., etc. So to shift to an abundance mindset, I want you to focus on the truth that there are actually unlimited opportunities on planet Earth for growth and for success, and that by helping other people, you get to attract more clients and more opportunities into your business too. The second shift is about changing from the idea of pushy selling, and I know what we all understand by that, the idea of pushy selling to service orientated selling. And because another common challenge we can face is feeling like we need to be aggressive in our sales approach, because we see that a lot, right? We see that a lot online, and we see that's what salespeople teach, the art of closing. The one call close, send 50 cold DMs a day, all this kind of stuff. Like, get your credit card and pay me now whilst you're on the phone. Ask your husband for the money. All this kind of stuff. All these really aggressive selling, pushy tactics that I really hate, and probably you really, if you follow me, you probably really hate those things too, right? And this can turn off potential clients. Surprise, surprise. And you'll know, if you've been on the end of that, you'll know how it feels. And I've been on the end of that as well. I've had guilt trips, or an attempted guilt trip, I should say, an attempted guilt trip from a female sales coach who told me that I would be setting a bad example to my daughter, that I would be a bad role model to my daughter if I didn't invest in her program. And I was given a snide remark by a male sales coach who told me that I would never be successful unless I bought his $16,000 coaching program. Oh my God. Like, that was like red rag to a bull as far as I'm concerned. I literally said, okay, watch me. And I will never sign up to his program. If I ever hear of anybody else that is thinking about signing up to his program, I will advise them not to. It's probably gone up in price now since that, because I think that was like my first year in my coaching business. But you get preyed upon by these people. And I've heard a lot of not good things about his coaching program. And then I had another, again, male coach telling me, oh, you're still here, are you? Upon meeting me at a second networking event. Oh, you're still here, are you? Considering that we are supposed to be a supportive, empowering lot, honestly, it's no wonder that the coaching industry has a bad name. And I could do a whole episode on that alone, and maybe I will. Instead, let's stop digressing, George. Keep on track. Instead, shift to a service orientated selling mindset. So we're talking coming from a place of service, okay, where the focus is really on understanding your audience's needs, helping them solve their problems through giving them mindset shifts, through giving them tools, strategies, hacks, whatever it is that you want to share that is directly linked to what you sell in your program or your service or your package, okay? But by doing this, not only will you make more sales, but you're also going to be building stronger relationships with your audience. You'll be building a community at the same time, which is so important, because all of these conversations equals conversions. And we're going to talk more about that later. The third shift is about moving from a place where you're in fear of rejection to having a growth mindset instead. Lots of us are being held back by or from making sales because we fear rejection. And I get it. It's really deeply encoded into our DNA. We don't want to be ostracized. We don't want to be rejected by someone, because survival away from the cave clan many moons ago meant almost certain death for us. Luckily, nowadays, someone rejecting us by deciding not to work with us doesn't mean death, although our body might still react that way because it's it's part of our primitive brain, that fight, flight, or freeze part of it. But not making offers will almost certainly mean the death of your business. So you get to choose. In that moment, you get to choose. Are you going to choose to listen to that story that you're telling yourself? Or do you choose a different outcome for yourself, and you get to choose a different action as well? So to overcome this fear, I want you to adopt a growth mindset when it comes to selling, because you've probably got growth mindsets in many other parts of your life. That's why you do what you do. But I want you to adopt a growth mindset when it comes to selling as well, where you view those rejections as opportunities to learn, as opportunities to grow, and opportunities to improve your messaging and your marketing, rather than seeing them as a kind of a personal failure and making it all about you. It's probably not all about you. There's two people in a sales conversation, okay? And only one of them is you. All that kind of stuff is going to make the sales process less intimidating, but it's also going to help you grow and improve. So every time you have a sales conversation, you're better and better and better. So we've talked about these three mindset shifts, and now I want to talk about the five good habits that I want you to get into that will help you improve your sales. All that mindset stuff is really crucial. And I always say, if you've been around me for any length of time, I always say that business is a mix of mindset and strategy. You have to have both to have a successful business. A strong mindset and no strategy means that you're just not going to know what to do. And a great strategy but poor mindset means you know exactly what to do, but you're too scared to do any of it. No point if you can't implement the things that you've learned, right? So it's a mix of mindset and strategy. And you have to get to grips with both of those things to make it happen. And it's easy to get bogged down by all the different strategies and tactics that are supposed to help you succeed, especially when coaches and consultants and mentors and course creators and all that, they're trying to ram their own preferred way of doing things down your throat, right? You must have a podcast. You must do public speaking. Evergreen funnels are the only way. Facebook ads are the only way. Organic marketing is the only way. You must have an email list. There's no point in having an email list. Write a book, run a workshop. Out of all of those things, the main thing that I agree that everybody should have is an email list. Okay. And I also love running workshops and challenges. And if you're interested in knowing how to do either of those two things, we should have a chat. That's exactly what I teach. However, it's not the only strategy. It's a strategy that works. So I totally disagree that there's one strategy to rule them all. And when you get caught up in all that noise, it's really, really easy to feel overwhelmed. And I know because I was overwhelmed too. It's really easy to feel overwhelmed about what the actual right thing to do is and what's actually going to work for your business and for you. And I could do a separate rant about how I feel about the whole one strategy to rule them all BS, but that's for another time as well. Otherwise, this episode will go on for hours and hours and hours, and I've got a school pickup to do. The truth is, what you really need is a series of repeatable steps and a determination to make it happen. By focusing on a simple and straightforward process that suits you and your business, you can eliminate all of the confusion. You can eliminate all of the stress that comes with trying to navigate the complex world of business. Like, the reality is, guys, business is simple. It's the simple, repeatable steps. It's not easy to get it all done, but it is really simple. And again, once you start to believe that, everything else starts dropping into place, because we make it too complicated in our own minds. And so as a coach or as a consultant, your ultimate goal is to help your clients to achieve their desired outcomes, whatever that might be. And yes, you might have to try a few different strategies to find one that suits you. That's totally normal. I treat business, and you should as well, I treat business almost like a game, like an experiment. And when I fail at something, I just know that at this moment in time, perhaps that's not going to be the right way for me. Or maybe I need to learn something from it and try again. So you've got to build a thriving business. You've got to have clients. In order to help your clients, you've got to have some. And obviously, key to that is you've got to be making the sales. So what habits then do we need to put into place? What habits do we need to adopt to make more sales? For the purposes of this list, for the purposes of this episode, I'm going to assume that you've done all the groundwork of working out who you help, what you do for them, that you've put an offer together that's easy to understand, easy to communicate, and that people value and will pay for. And if you need help with any of that stuff, or indeed anything that I talk about here, then please reach out and let's have a chat, because I'm a completely passionate nerd about all of this stuff, and I really, really want to help you do it too. While we're talking about this, I want you to remember this simple formula, and you might even want to get a pen and paper for this. And the formula is eyeballs, so traffic, right? Or audience, people, eyeballs plus conversations minus the overwhelm equals sales. Eyeballs plus conversations minus the overwhelm equals sales. So the first habit to get into is about knowing your numbers and putting it into a morning routine. Before you start anything, it's essential to understand your numbers. And for this purpose, what we're talking about is how many clients you want, what your packages cost, so that you understand how many conversations you need to be having, or how many people you need to be signed up to a workshop, for example, to achieve those sales. And it can be super simple. If I've got a program that costs $2,000 and I want to make $10,000 this month, I know I need 5 people to sign up to my program to make the sales. If I know that I have a 50% conversion rate on a workshop, I know that I need 20 people on my workshop. If I know that I have a 30% show up rate on my workshop, I know that I need to have 60 people signed up for my workshop, so I can work backwards. 60 people signed up for my workshop, 20 of those turn up, I'll convert 10 of them, and that gives me my 10,000. It's really simple, it's really basic, but I know it can be scary and I know it can be confronting. And because of all those reasons, because it can be scary, because it's so simple, a lot of people don't bother doing it. But when you have a clear understanding of your numbers, you know how close you are to achieving them or how far away you are from achieving them. And you can make informed decisions and start to develop strategies to steer you in the right direction. And I do this as part of my morning routine every morning, where I set my intentions for the day. I set out how I want to show up. I set out what I want to achieve for the day. I set out how much money I want to bring in that month and how I'm going to do it. And when you have a morning routine that's super intentional like that, it sets you up for success. It makes a significant impact on your productivity, and it makes a significant impact on your mindset for the day. Your mindset might also include journaling, meditation, exercise, or any other activity that helps you to feel energized and kind of pumped. And when you incorporate these practices into your own routine, you'll be able to start improving your mental clarity and your motivation that will carry you through the day. The second habit is about networking. It's about building strong relationships with your audience. And networking is one of the most effective ways to build relationships. And that can be online or offline. So it might be looking like attending events. It might be looking like meeting up for coffee, joining networking, joining online communities. It might be reaching out to your existing network for referrals. Very powerful, by the way, especially if you're just starting out. When you meet someone new, be curious about them, be interested about them, be more interested in them than they are in you, or that you are in yourself, okay? take the time to understand their challenges, their goals, that gap between the two, what's stopping them from achieving what it is that they really want to achieve, and what it is that they're looking for. Then you can determine if you're the right person for them and you potentially make an offer. If you're not the right person with them, you become a super connector and you refer them to somebody else in your network who can help them. It's a beautiful thing. Networking and becoming a super connector is a really beautiful thing. Again, remember this formula, right? Eyeballs plus conversations minus the overwhelm equals sales. This formula is already encapsulated in the networking thing, and it's going to be really, really important to carry this through everything that you do. So the third habit is about staying in touch. It's about the nurture piece and the follow-up piece. And this follow-up, this nurture, is really essential to keep your audience engaged and interested in your services. Reaching out to your group regularly, either mass marketing through email, through your social media posts, through doing lives and videos and so on. Highly recommend. I also highly recommend keeping in touch through one-on-one touch points as well. And that might be, again, it might be in person, like coffee chats. It might be through commenting on their social media posts, through commenting on their stories, maybe sending them the odd direct message, especially if you can offer a valuable insight or answer a question that they might have. But generally to let them know that you are genuinely interested in them as a person is definitely an art, but it's something that can be learned. And I think what I find with a lot of people is that they're very nervous about doing this bit. And part of that nervousness comes from them feeling like they need to know the exact words to use with somebody. Because that's, again, they're so frightened that they're so frightened that they'll frighten the person off that it stops them from making any contact at all. In which case you're in that kind of fear of rejection / scarcity mindset. When the reality is, if this person, and this is a great way to approach it, if this person was your best friend, you'd find it very easy to know what to say to them. So treat this person as a best friend of yours that you haven't met in person yet. That's like a really, really good way to take off some of that pressure off yourself and off them as well. Because if you're feeling pressure going into the conversation, sure as hell they're going to feel the pressure their end, and they might not know why, but they'll absolutely feel it, and it's going to put them on edge. Okay, so be genuinely interested in them. And this follow-up, actually, interesting side note, well, it may be interesting, it's interesting for me. Interesting side note, this piece about follow-up was the exact catalyst that caused me to create my program, because one of my very early on clients, I said she'd had some interest in something she was selling, and I said, oh, you have followed up with those 3 people that commented that they were interested in hearing more, haven't you? And she said, what's follow-up? No, I'm not following up. What's follow-up? And honestly, I kind of put my head in my hands, and I couldn't believe that such a basic thing was being missed by so many people. And when I thought about the fact that people either didn't know that they needed to follow up or are too scared to follow up because they don't have the words, it made me think about all of the other pretty, in my opinion, in my experience, I should say, because I'm not there anymore, the other, in inverted commas, basic business skills that people also don't know about because they're so good at the other bits that they do that they haven't learned business skills, or maybe they've come out of corporate and they haven't needed to know business skills. Like, I've been working in a small business for donkey's years, and so business skills is, it kind of runs through my blood, really. And that's what makes me good at what I do, and what you do. Your experience has made you good at what you do. Okay, so that's why I built my entire program, to teach these real foundational skills that will last you for years and years and years and years. Anyway, I digress. All of this kind of nurturing and this consistent follow-up and this kind of engagement shows that you're committed to them as a person. First and foremost, you're committed to them as a person. It shows that you want them to have a positive outcome, which means that when they're ready, they're more likely to choose you as their person to help them do the thing that they want to do. What this means then for you guys is that you must have a way to capture details of your audience so that you can stay in touch with them over the longer period. So don't neglect the email list. Okay, don't neglect your email list. Remember, eyeballs plus conversations minus the overwhelm equals sales. That formula has really served us well so far, and it's really, really important that you kind of keep that going through your mind with everything that you do, so that you can make sure that everything that you do falls into those parts of the formula. Maths isn't my strong point. I don't know what you call that part of the formula, but anyway, business, not maths, you guys, not numbers. Anyway, number 4, the 4th habit, making the offer. Making the damn offer, you guys. Having a conversion event. We love having conversations. We love helping people, but it's essential that you actually make the offer to convert a potential client into somebody that actually pays you to do the rest of the work with you. Okay, you've got to convert them into an actual paying client. And one way to do this is by using conversion events. These events, they're designed to engage, they're designed to persuade your audience to take action. And in my experience, this is the part that's missing for most of you. This conversion event and getting your messaging right from the outset, they're the bits that are missing most often, I see. So some conversion events that you can use. My preferred option, online workshops or masterclasses or a multi-day challenge. I love these. They're an excellent way to provide valuable content to your audience while showcasing your expertise. And to make the most of yours, make sure that you choose a relevant and compelling topic that people will want to sign up to. And also, where the natural next step is for them to join your offer. Okay, so then you promote it to your email list, you promote it through social media channels, you pitch your offer at the workshop. And then really, really important, you have to follow up with everyone who registered for your workshop, even if they didn't attend, because they still need help with that thing. Okay, really important. So the next thing is discovery calls. The next conversion event type is a discovery call, or you might call it a chemistry call or a strategy call or a consultation or whatever. It all means the same thing. It's a one-to-one conversation between you and a potential client. It's designed specifically to help them identify their needs and their goals, and it helps you explore how you can help them achieve those goals. And to run an effective discovery call, you're going to be wanting to ask open-ended questions. You're going to be wanting to listen actively, you guys, and provide some tailored help that is enough to show that you're an expert, but without giving the whole game away. In fact, we don't want to overly help on this call. We both know, you and I both know, that one call isn't going to be enough to help solve all of their problems. But if you help too much, they're either going to get overwhelmed, or they're going to feel like they've got enough to get them through to the next bit and they don't need you yet. And they'll say something like, oh, I'll come back to you in a couple of months' time. Okay. As a giant overhelper, you guys, I am a giant overhelper. You may have noticed. I've got over this by setting myself a boundary. So my sales calls are only 15 minutes long. And I have a call framework that I work through, that I follow, and I teach it, by the way, which helps me keep the call flowing, allows me to help, but not help too much, and allows me to naturally make an offer to work together at the end of the call. Oh, something loud just fell on my roof then. Lastly, in the conversion events, you'll want to be building a quality email list. And a quality email list is the foundation of successful email marketing. And a quality email list means people who have the problem that you solve, who have the money to pay for the problem that you solve, and the time to take the time to do the work, and that they don't mind digging in and doing it. So they've got the time, the money, and the inclination, basically, right? You can start your email list or build your email list by offering a quick and valuable lead magnet, like a checklist, a template, some kind of free resource, or you can offer a longer workshop or challenge in exchange for their email address. Now, I love to offer both of those things. So I'll have when I'm running a workshop, I'll be building my audience by running a workshop and inviting people to it, getting them to sign up to my email list. And in between times when I'm not running a workshop, I have a couple of lead magnets that I have constantly kind of going out there to be building my email list all the time. You can use social media and other channels to promote your lead magnet and encourage people to sign up to your email list. Then, guys, importantly, you have to actually email them. You have to email your email list. So we're talking here regular valuable content. You can totally repurpose this from social media, by the way. You don't have to double up. You don't have to start from scratch and write 2 lots of things. You can totally reshare what you've put on social media to your email list, and that's okay. Your email content obviously needs to provide value. It needs to share, you need to share insights and tips, provide resources, provide mindset shifts for them. And really important to make sure that your content is well written and it's easy to read. So lots of white space, minimize the industry jargon and use short sentences. Make it like reading level grade 4, okay? People are busy. They don't want to have to use expensive brain energy to try and understand what you're writing. Just make it easy for them to understand. Then make sure you include a call to action on every email. In fact, everything that you do should have some kind of call to action on it. And it might be about booking a call, signing up for a workshop, downloading your thing, visiting your sales page, leave a comment, DM me. There should be a call to action on everything that you do. Okay. And then number 5 on our habits. So that was all about conversion events. Number 5 on our habits is all about personal and professional development. And this is about investing in your own growth. And it might be a monetary investment, but it doesn't have to be all the time. Do you always need to have a coach or a mentor to be improving? No, I don't believe you do. But personal development is key to improving all of your skills, soft skills, business skills, whatever. So read books. Yes, read books, attend workshops, listen to podcasts for sure. Also, invest in coaching or mentorship programs or courses or masterminds or whatever it is that will help you grow at the right time. So really key to this is understanding what you need and finding the right thing for what you need in that moment. So for example, if you're just starting out, you probably don't need to spend money on a Facebook ads course because Facebook ads come later. Get your messaging right first, get your marketing strategy right first, learn how to sell, then scale with Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever. When you do this personal growth work, you're in the game, right? You know how it works. You're going to grow in resilience, you'll grow in confidence, you'll have a supportive group around you, perhaps for accountability. Your business skills will improve, you'll develop a stronger mindset. All of this stuff comes together to improve your business by percentage points every day, which all add up over time. I'm a massive believer in personal growth, and honestly, I hope I never stop. So we've covered 3 mindset shifts, we've covered 5 habits, and I want you to start incorporating these habits into your business today and every day so that you can watch your sales grow. I would love to know which of the habits that I've given you is something that you know you need to work on and how you're going to incorporate that into your business strategy. My experience with clients, as I said, is that the 3 places that they fall down on is knowing their numbers, working on their messaging, so communicating what it is that they do, and having a conversion event that works for them. They're usually the missing pieces of the puzzle. So if you know or you feel like that's something you need to work on, let me know. Let's have a chat about how we can work together to make that happen for you. And don't be afraid to make mistakes along the way. Experimentation is key to find out what works best for your business and works best for you. And as you gain momentum, as you find out that things are working, double down on what works. Double down on what works and try to resist the lure of the shiny object syndrome. I know I have to have a serious word with myself from time to time as well. Double down on what works, ignore everything else, and don't forget to have fun and fall in love with the process, because even though I know that you're very passionate about what it is that you sell, you're probably not that passionate about marketing and sales. But you have to find the fun in that process and fall in love with that process to get to where you want to get to. So let's put on our thinking caps and we'll channel our inner mad scientists, be bold, be determined, and get ready to have some fun building a business that's unstoppable. Can't wait to hear how you go. Thanks for listening.